Hello, Internet. Welcome to Miller's Musing, a weekly series by me, Simon Miller, where I just talk about, say the same thing every week, we'll say it again, life, mental health, depression, things you should do, things that maybe you shouldn't do, all those little things that weigh up when we are referring, I don't know what the word would be. There's many words to put it. We'll just put it under the bracket of life. I want to give a shout out before I start. I bumped into a couple of really nice people over the last week, separate people, who mentioned the Miller's Musing stuff. And anytime that happens, and someone tells me this has helped them, you make me feel good, which is very selfish. And it's not what the idea of this is at all, but I'm not going to lie. When I started this, that was the idea. I didn't know how people were going to respond. I never thought it would do thousands upon thousands of views. That wasn't the point. And yes, when people come up to me and say they've watched these things and they've given them a little lift, I feel like it was all worthwhile. Now, we're going to talk about something that immediately came into my brain. I have to be a bit vague. I will probably be doing another Miller's Musing on Friday this week to update you the situation about my shoulder. I don't want to say anything now because I'd like details and information first. But in case you're wondering, I will do that towards the end of the week. But it got me thinking about passions and about things that people are interested in, and sometimes what human beings won't do, despite the fact that it's something that they want to do. And that ties into a lot of things. Taking a leap of faith, not really the right word, but taking a leap of faith is hard. And I think when we're talking about passions or hobbies or whatever it is, and taking them to a level you may want to try, but you may not want to take them. Anyway, I wanted to talk about it because I think it's really important that people do these things. So I thought, okay, well, I've got many platforms, let's talk about it. In short, I completely understand why people don't... I don't want to call it dreams, because I think that's too extreme, right? Like, if you're sat there right now thinking, I want to be the next Tom Cruise, look, I hope you do become the next Tom Cruise. I think that'd be excellent. But there is no surefire way that is going to happen. Like, you can put yourself out there and keep your fingers crossed, but it's certainly not something that anybody can guarantee. But there is something below that. That's the wrong term because below sounds negative. But there is something around that you can do that I think will absolutely tap into something that should help with your everyday well-being. This is what I think anyway. And I love it. Some people get in contact about Miller's Musing and say, well, I didn't necessarily agree with that, but it was still good to hear. And again, that's really what this is all about. It's about to spark debate and maybe get yourself thinking about my opinion, see if you agree, don't you agree, and try and figure out that way. But I really do believe that it's important as a human being to, let's say you're passionate about wrestling. Well, that was my most recent one, and will be something I'll be going back to once I'm all fixed up. But the way I always viewed wrestling was quite simple once I decided I was going to do it. And it did come down to age and, not necessarily a ticking clock, but thinking, do I want to be an old man and think to myself, you should have tried this? The answer was no. But that's the whole point. So when I kind of sat there and summed about whether I should go or shouldn't go to wrestling training, the two things I kind of came up with this. Well, I can go and I can not like it, and I can have the strength of my convictions to draw a line under it and go, well, at least I tried. So I can get my pad of things I want to do. I can cross that off and say, I can never regret this because I tried. And I think we've mentioned this on other episodes. The strength, a lot of people with this kind of stuff go, you can't give up, you're a quitter. It's just not true whatsoever. You decide if you quit or not, nobody else, and it doesn't make you a quitter if deep down you know that it's not for you. And I think this is maybe where some of the fear comes in as well. Also that maybe it won't reach the conclusion that you would like it to, or maybe that it's hard. We'll get to that in a minute. But mostly, I think that's what it is. It's like, well, if I get involved with something and then I leave it behind, what does that say about me as a person? It doesn't say anything about you as a person. It says that you had the cojones to go out there and try something to begin with. And then you also had the cojones to go, you know what, I tried it, it's not for me, I'm going to walk away. Because walking away is hard. They're on different stratospheres, but, walking away from an abusive or difficult or bad relationship is really hard. You always hear about people, both men and women, say, look, I really wanted to leave, but I couldn't because of X, Y, and Z. Now, again, that's, over here, and that's a lot more extreme, but it still starts, I guess it's teaching yourself the mentality. And that to me starts here. And that's what I thought about. I thought, well, if you don't like it, you can just go. Well, don't punish yourself. Don't punish your own brain. Again, have that strength to go, okay, man, it's not for me. But the other reason was, as I've just said, it was... I think sometimes, again, this is how it ties into mental health, or at least how I view mental health and getting down and anxious, depressed. I didn't want to be sitting around at any point in my life, be that now, 20, 30, 40 years' time, should I be so lucky, and be thinking to myself, Why didn't I put myself out there and just see what happens? Because who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I'm not saying that if you are feeling down, that putting yourself into that kind of atmosphere is going to help, but I do think it gives you a focus, and I do think it gives you a distraction. And if it's something that you do really love, or something that's just been eating away at you for so long and you haven't tried, I do think that's a lot of factors that can kind of turn the balance in your favor, tip the balance in your favor. And I think that is what I wanted to get at today, because let's say that it is wrestling. You're the same. I want to be a wrestler. You can decide not to do it because, again, you may not like it. You may not be good at it. You may suck. People may laugh at you. I'm trying to think of some of the crazy things we come up with in our brain. But you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, because let's say it all comes true. Nobody likes you. Very unlikely, but nobody likes you. You're absolutely crap. You fall on your face. People laugh. Doesn't matter because you didn't go for them. Of course, it's going to affect you a little bit because we're all human beings, and we only our armor only runs so deep, and some people's armor is thicker than others. But it really, really doesn't matter, because eventually you'll get over that, you'll get past it, and you can say to yourself, "Well, at least I gave it a go." And that is what it's all about. And the thing is, none of that stuff's going to happen. What's probably going to happen is with something like wrestling. A lot of people want to throw themselves on acting classes or sports or things like that, where there's usually a group mentality, or even writing a book. That's different. That's more of a solo project. But again, you still be talking to publishers and friends, blah, blah, blah. But what will probably happen is you meet a load of people you like. If it is something to do with exercise, you're going to get endorphin release. That's going to make you feel good. But on top of that, because even by going there for the first session, even if you don't make it to session 2, you've proven to yourself that you can break whatever cycle you're all struggling with, or whatever kind of mindset you're in. Again, it could be the catalyst. Doesn't say it's definitely going to be, and I should have said this at the start of the video. As always, if you're struggling, please talk to a counselor, your friend, family, give somebody a call, the Samaritans, whatever. There's somebody out there who wants to listen to you, so please do open up to them so they can help you. But again, there's ways and means. I don't necessarily think you should just talk to a counsellor. I think that it's good to, put yourself in these environments too. And that's something I think is really important, because again, talking from my own point of view, I know that when I went to my first wrestling session, if you watch any of the videos I did for What Culture, you'll know about this. I remember halfway through the warm-up, which is the most ironic term ever, I wanted to leave. And I remember my brain saying, we can just leave. They'll just think you're the weird guy that left halfway through the workout. But I didn't. I stuck with it, and there were good times, there were bad times, ups and downs, if you will. But eventually, the hard work paid off. And before my injury, which again was something I had to overcome mentally and accept and go, you're not going to be able to go to the gym, not going to be able to do this, going to lose weight, blah. It was, it was something that was my focus, it was my goal, it was my aim, and it gave me purpose. Now, purpose is deeper than what you do, right? Everyone should just have purpose anyway, because you wake up every day and you're a human being and you're a good person. Therefore, you have purpose. You don't have to be an actor or a musician or something extravagant. You can aim for that stuff, of course, but you don't have to be that just to feel like you matter or you're worthwhile, because you're worthwhile because you're you. But again, as human beings, the brains is funny and bodies are funny, and chemical imbalances and all that are absolutely crazy. So sometimes you do have to kind of put yourself in the eye of the tornado, and that's what it did for me, especially. And maybe that's what the gym does for me as well. I love doing them so much, and it kind of triggered that passionate gland in me, which is not a thing, I made that up, but it triggered that thing in me to such a degree. I was like, this is great. And there were other things going on, if you maybe a few difficult things at the time, but I was like, it's okay, because I can throw myself into this. I know every Tuesday, Thursday, I'm going to go to wrestling training. I'm going to see the guys and the girls that I'm used to. I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to take that. I'm going to apply it to my wrestling matches. I'm going to focus on my gear. What can I get? What colour should I have? What should my boots be? What should my entry be? What do I do when I do a promo? And all of it just acted as something. Again, I liked it. So, of course, that's always going to make you throw yourself into it more. But it did. It made the bad things not as bad, because this good thing was so good. And again, the hard thing there was that I suffered an injury, and that was almost 3 months ago now. It'll be 3 months in a couple of weeks. And on top of that, I have some, it's 99%. I mean, you can kind of figure it out, but I'm not going to say it until I know. But, if anyone's been following all of that, you'll have been able to work it out. It looks like I'm going to get some disappointing news on Friday. But even with all that, and this is the perfect example, which is why, in a way, things like this are good. Even though I did have a fall, it's the best thing. I did have a fall, but would I have changed anything I did before that? Absolutely not. Have the downs of me trying to process and get through the studio taken away from the ups? No. No, not at all. If anything, it's made me more determined to get this fixed, get back in shape, get back in the ring, and have a lovely babyface comeback, right? Your story doesn't end just because there's an asterisk or something gets in the way, or there's a new obstacle you have to overcome. It's that classic saying, right? It's not what life, it's not what, it's how you react to life. It's not what life gives you, it's how you react. And that's always the way, because sometimes we can't control what's going to go on. That's a scary thought in itself, and I can imagine people sort of freaking out about that when it hits you in waves. Like, I can't control what's going on, and you can't. You only have so much of a handle on things, and then, there's billions of other people out there who are also throwing that back out. So we're always going to have this thing in between. We're like, I don't know what happens in this big central period. But that's why I think you as a person should reach out to do the things you want to do the things you're passionate about, to do the things that make you happy, and always put yourself in that position where you're going to feel good. So that even when there are things outside of what you can do that you don't like as much, it's okay, because this is your thing, and you can take away a lot of the sort of positive things that we need just to get through day to day. And we do need that. Like, ultimately, absolutely, you want self-worth, you want purpose, it's just there. But I think you can get it by doing things like this. So if you are struggling with that, putting yourself into these awkward situations, but something that you want to try, can actually then sort of circle of life and come back the other way. Go, oh, now I feel better because I went out there and did that stuff. So I guess kind of the moral, like this is some kind of Aesop's fable, but I guess the moral of all of this is, I think, taking a risk, maybe a calculated risk to a certain degree, but I don't think you should hold yourself back. And I think if there is something gnawing away, in your mind or in your head, or something that you want to do, but you keep making excuses to not do it. Maybe it is because, I need to get over this anxiety I'm suffering from, or this bad patch. I think it may be, everyone's different, but for me, if somebody asked me my advice, I think you should just throw yourself into it, and I think that may actually be the thing that turns around and gives you a little bit of pickup. But at least I hope it would do, and I don't think it would make you feel any worse, would be my gut feeling. If it's something you absolutely loved, as long as you go in there knowing that if you don't love it, it's okay to walk away. I'm really going to stress that. I'm real big on that. Everyone always says that to me. Simon, if I become a wrestler, what would your biggest advice to be? I go, enjoy it. And if you don't like it, you haven't quit, you just gave something a go, and you manage to say, nah, not for me. There's nothing wrong with that. I never bought into this mentality of, oh, you big loser. No way. Absolutely no way. You followed your gut, you followed your heart, and really, as human beings, that's all we can do, and try and be a bit nice along the way. Gone over 10 minutes. I like to keep these to 10 minutes, as we know. So yes, thank you again to everybody who watches these. Thank you to everyone that says kind words about them. You can leave a comment below if you've got a certain topic you'd like me to talk on. I'm happy to talk about anything, even current issues. At one point today, I thought about talking about Kanye West and his comments on Saturday Night Live, and I thought, I don't want to go down that road, but I will if enough people want to. So like, share, subscribe, and as always, really honestly, the people that came up to me, especially the guy on Saturday night, that was a real surprise. So yeah, it does. It means a lot to me, and hopefully this means a lot to you too, because that was always the idea. But you take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week.